Hi everyone, my name's Trisha, Internet Marketing Expert, and this video is part of my online training course, Facebook Ads for Online Market Sales. And I'm very excited because today on our show, we have a copywriting expert. Now, copywriting can make or break an advertising campaign. With the right copy, people will read your ad, go to your product page, and ultimately make the purchase. So without further delay, it is my pleasure to introduce you to nationally published journalist and copywriting expert Richard S. Todd, President and Content Lead at The Editor's Desk. Hi, Richard.
Hey, Patricia, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Oh, very well, thanks.
Thanks for joining us here. I guess what we'll start off with is just finding out more about you. So if you could tell everybody more about what you do and the types of projects you've worked on, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a nationally published writer who's made a career out of creating words and telling stories, which is great for me because I've been doing it ever since I was a kid, and I feel very, very blessed that I've been able to do it as a career as well. What I do is I write stories for magazines, national magazines, and also for local magazines here in Toronto. But I also help businesses connect with clients, the best clients that they could find, by writing engaging SEO copy for their website, for their blog, for their email marketing campaigns, for wherever they need words. I provide them.
Wonderful. It must be a very exciting job for sure.
Yeah, it's great because really it's an amazing learning experience. I know so much about so many different industries simply by working with these businesses, things I never knew about before. So yeah, it's been a great experience.
Awesome. Well, one thing that I do is I spend a great deal of time telling e-commerce owners that they really, really need to do a lot of research about their target audience. So I harp on it probably too much, and I spend probably more time than anybody else, but I want to get that target audience just right. So in your opinion, is getting the target audience as precise as can be, is that important to copy, would you say?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, it's funny, if you send out a message to everyone, what they used to call spray and pray, chances are your message might fall on deaf ears if you don't know the customer persona. For example, you're not going to sell me a subscription to a seniors magazine, at least not this year anyway, but you never know in the future. So by knowing your customer and doing the research, you're going to find the most effective way to speak to them by knowing what makes them happy, what they want, and what their pain points are. And a lot of that takes research. For example, my very first business was called Big Bite Computer Training. It was back in the late 90s, and it was at a time when Word and Excel were starting to really come up and be used in households more than ever. Mm-hmm. But I knew a lot of people who had no idea how to use them. Of course, now most people do, but back then it was still new. I was certified already, so I asked a lot of these people, well, what aren't you understanding? And if you had to learn, what would you be using it for? They would answer, they would tell me, and I would design the training program according to their needs. It was research, and it was very, very important for me to find out what the customer persona was. Now, today, it's easy to do online. You can send out surveys, you can post questions on social media, you can post questions on news groups, you can do so many things, get out and network, and just talk to people and find out exactly who they are, what they need, and how you can help them. And you can tailor your messages that way. It takes a lot of time and a lot of work, but in the long run, it will save you so much in marketing dollars.
I love that because, yeah, that's exactly what I thought. And it makes it easier when you write your copy and you could picture that person that you're talking to because that is your ideal purchaser and you know that they need your product. It just makes the whole process a lot easier. So that's wonderful. Thank you for that. Okay, so here's one for you. Would you say that it's the copy or the visual that's the most important in an ad?
Well, I'd say it's both, really. Now, that's not just a glib, easy answer, because basically they're a marriage of the two, and you can use both to enhance the other. Now, I brought two examples for you. If we can get them up on the screen, we'll have a look and analyze how great these Facebook ads are. So the first one here is called Nature Box. Now, have a look. It's fantastic. You know, the image shows you exactly what you're getting, and it calls out the free sample call to action as well. It's relevant. You can target it to people who are known to like to take care of themselves, like to eat healthy, organic foods. They like to do yoga. They like to hike outside. If you target that audience with this ad, you're going to have great results. It's valuable, meaning it clearly explains the value, the free trial call out, the healthy aspects of the goodies in its product. It means a lot to the audience. And it has a clear call to action as well. NatureBox is asking you to try its free sample, and you know exactly what to do next. So let's have a look at the next one, the Boston Sports Club. Have a look at this. This is great. It's visual. The featured photo uses bold colors and clear topography to draw my attention to the details of the offer. And the woman exercising gives me an idea of what I could gain from purchasing. It's relevant. So if you move to Boston, because you will be targeting the Boston area when you run this ad, and you're looking for gyms in your area, this ad is highly relevant to your search activity and to your Facebook activity as well. And that's also valuable too. It clearly shows the value paying $5 a month for a monthly gym membership. That's a great deal. And the call to action is clear as well. They're using a trigger word like hurry, telling you when the offer expires. It creates that sense of urgency, which is very, very valuable when you're advertising.
Okay, excellent. Well, I'm glad you talked about the call to action, because I know that having a really good call to action is like an essential part of any Facebook advertising campaign. So can you give us a few more tips on how to create a nice, short, snappy call to action that's effective?
Absolutely. When you design a call to action, it's important to make the benefit clear. In other words, the user is going to be looking at that saying, what am I getting if I click this button? Or I click on this link? What exactly is in it for me?
Okay, so thank you, Richard. Thank you for showing us those examples. That was really, really helpful. And thanks for touching on the call to action as well, because having a call to action ad is super, super important, because I know in ads and anything else you do online, it's really important to make sure that you tell the person what the next step is and what you want them to do. So that's wonderful. So thank you for that. Let's talk about split testing a little bit. So in my course, I go over how to do split testing and why split testing is very, very important. But can you talk a little bit more about how to do split testing with copy?
Absolutely. It's important within the copy to explore and experiment with as many different elements of the ad as possible. The most important thing to start with first would be the headline. It's what people's eyes are drawn to first. Mm-hmm. So you can experiment with two different headlines, headline A and headline B. When you're split testing, you don't want to experiment with too many elements at the same time, because you're not going to get a clear picture of what works and what doesn't. So start with your headline. Once you have a winner with the headline, experiment with the image. Do the same thing, then experiment with the call to action. The body text is important as well, but for me, the most important things to experiment with would be the headline, the image, and then the call to action. And once you have your analytics, you'll have a winning ad that's going to do great for your campaign. Ad testing is trial and error, and again, it's a lot of work, but down the road, it's going to do great for your marketing campaign.
Fabulous. Yeah, and I've learned that from other marketers that specialize in Facebook advertising as well, that sometimes it's even just one or two words that can really make a difference. So very, very important to test it. And I like how you put the priority of order of what you should test, because that's where people's eyes are drawn to when they're looking at ads, right? They look at the headline, they look at the image, and then they're looking at the call to action. So, and then they're looking at the body text. Usually that's how people's eyes flow for ads. So that's fabulous. So thank you. So Richard, I've heard about this thing called sales trigger words, or sales psychology, but I'm not very familiar with that. Could you kind of educate me and the audience on, is there such a thing as a sales trigger word? Like, is there words that you can use in your ad copy that's going to make people more likely to take a buying action?
Oh, sure. Absolutely there are. The key to that is to create that fear of loss and that sense of urgency, because especially these days, since we're so connected, people don't want to miss out on anything. It's part of the reason why people are so glued to Facebook or to Twitter or to Instagram. They want to see what their friends are doing. They want to see what the latest news is. Mm-hmm. They want to be connected to what's happening at this moment. So you can apply that same psychology to your Facebook ads by using trigger words like download now, limited time, act now, last chance. Little phrases like that can go a long way to creating that sense of urgency and getting people to click that button and respond to your ad.
Wonderful. I love that. Okay, so create a sense of urgency. I have seen that before, so very important. And I know the word free on its own is the hottest marketing word you can use in an ad if you can
Yeah.
offer something for free.
Everybody loves free.
Yes, especially on Facebook. Okay, awesome. So let's see. Um, so Facebook hates copy on images. They now allow just a few words on an image, if not at all, but they prefer images that don't have copy. But I'm wondering, I've seen other marketers successfully use copy, and I've used copy on images successfully. And I just want to know what your opinion is. If you're going to use copy on images, should you? And what guidelines do you have for the types of words you should or shouldn't use on copy?
Well, I
Or
think
sorry,
that
on the image, I mean. Sorry, I worded that wrong. Go ahead.
I go.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think it's a great idea, especially if the copy on the image is going to enhance what the image is. So, if you're going to do it, I would keep it very compact, keep it very economical, the amount of words that you're using. You know, there's a reason why memes are so popular right now, where they have an image and they have some words on it to give context to that image. And people love them because they communicate a message very quickly, just within half a second. You know exactly what it's about. The only thing I would caution is, again, putting too many words on the ad, because then it looks like any of those memes that are just stuffed with words, and it just doesn't look great. You want to keep it professional. Those trigger words are great. Act now, free trial, download now. Simple message, 1, 2, 3 words, somewhere within the white space of the picture, and you're golden.
Okay. Or even, I guess, if you're having a sale, it'd be a good place to put 50% off, limited time, or whatever.
Exactly. You can really marry the trigger words with the image and have a great effect.
Perfect. Okay, thank you for that. So, in your opinion, since you're the copy expert, what, in your opinion, is the most important thing that copy can do?
Copy can evoke emotion. Words, they speak to people in ways that no other medium can. For example, I wrote a website for a cheese and charcuterie shop here in Toronto, in Leslieville. And the idea was to invoke a hunger response. So they see the image, they can visualize the image, but then they needed the words to say, how does it smell? How does it taste? And how are you going to feel after you eat this delicious cheese melting on this beautiful piece of bread? How is that going to affect you? You invoke a hunger response, you're appealing to their emotions, you're satisfying a potential need, or in the case of food, you might be creating a need, and you're reaching them on a level that not very many forms of media can. So if you're invoking some sort of emotional response, you can do that with many, many things. For fundraising, that's another one. For telling people how this is going to make you feel, again, you can do so much with words to invoke that response and to make them do what you want them to do, which is usually click that button and respond to your ad. So that's the most important thing. Have them taste that food, have them smell it, have them experience it just through your words. It's so effective, and it's so, so important when you're writing copy.
Wow, it must be really effective because I can just picture cheese and I'm hungry all of a sudden. So that's just doing that, very, very effective indeed. So
Well, I can tell you the research was absolutely delicious for that project. I gained some weight, and it was
awesome.
delicious.
Yeah, you have to definitely taste test everything that you're going to write about to make sure you know exactly what to say. Awesome. Well, now that I'm hungry, we better wrap this up soon. So, Richard, do you have any final tips for our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. The most important thing to remember is to keep your copy clear, concise, and to the point, without getting too lyrical, without showing off your writing chops, which I'm sure you have. But when it comes to marketing, you don't want to get too creative. You just want to get the message out. You want to appeal to their emotions, to their needs, to their pain points, and make sure that you try to convert them as quickly as possible.
Okay. Thank you for that. So being direct and just getting it out there, and I like that because really with Facebook ad copy, we don't have a ton of room to play with anyway. So all the words are very, very valuable. So that's perfect. Thank you. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, fortunately, Facebook does have those guidelines where you can't put too much copy in, so they know exactly what works. There's the complete science behind this, and Facebook makes sure that you will conform to those, but it is to your benefit.
Yeah, I guess especially on mobile now, right? People are reading it on these little screens. We can't go overboard. So,
Absolutely.
good stuff. All right, Richard. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on our show. So thank you so much. Thank you for your valuable tips and your time. I know that I really appreciated the feedback that you've given, and I know our audience definitely will as well. So thank you. And yeah.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, take care. Bye. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you got something out of this session. And if you did, if you know other business owners that could really benefit from this information, or other people that are just starting off their e-commerce store, then please go ahead and share it. If you want to learn more about how Facebook ads can be used effectively to drive people to your online e-commerce store, then please check out the URL below me or in the description box below this video. I wish you all a ton of financial success. So this is Trisha, hoping that you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in my online training program.